watching. Welcome to this call and to the next 4 calls. My name is Emma. I'm a self-development mentor, a theta healer, and a Kunyin instructor. And I'm with the amazing Joanne and Emma, the founder of Kunyin, a feminine embodiment practice. And today, in the next 4 calls, we will be strengthening your connection and your relationship to your emotions. You're going to leave feeling way more connected and aware of how your body speaks. So we're going to just start off very basic, and we're just going to be exploring different concepts, once again, helping you understand yourself, your emotions, and your body. Thank you, Joanne.
Thank you. So great to be here. It's so important to really have a understanding of emotions.
My story with emotions, I was always very, very sensitive from a very young age, but I never knew how to identify how I was feeling. And most importantly, I never knew how to express. I used to always internalize, which is why I felt so drawn to Kunyin as a practice. That's why it's my medicine. And all of you who are watching are going to understand the power of Kunyin and how it actually helps you move, express, and shift your emotional state, which then impacts also your mental state. So I want to start off with the question, a very, very simple question. What are emotions?
So emotions are thought forms that we have had, that we have been programmed to, often for many, many, many years, that are experienced in the body as feelings. Mm-hmm. Right? So our thought forms then affect how we feel. So have you ever noticed that when you start thinking about something sad, then you'll start to feel sad? If you start to think of a memory that makes your heart happy, that makes your heart sing, that you feel more joy or more gratitude. So your thought forms can affect your emotions and how you feel.
In relation to thought forms, so these are thoughts that we can create, but these are also thoughts that we can be influenced by, right? From what we're seeing, what we're hearing. So these thoughts can happen internally and externally?
Absolutely. So your thought forms can be triggered by an external experience. So, or not, or could be from an internal experience that you've had in the past, where so your thoughts and your emotions can be triggered by your experiences. So your upbringing, so the environment in which you were brought up in, the experiences that you've had, or maybe things that you've seen. If there has been a traumatic event, that can also impact your experience of the thoughts that you have about what you believe, and therefore your experience of life.
Okay. Now moving on to the next question. In this era of emotional awareness that we're in, we hear the word embodiment a lot. What is embodiment and what's the importance of it?
Well, to me, embodiment is the bringing into human form an essence or a spirit of anything. So it's the being. For me, it's like bringing into human form. It's not a knowing. A knowing is different. Knowing comes from the mind. The bringing in human form is bringing in the experience or the essence of a particular spirit or way of being. And I feel that so many people know a lot of things. There's a lot of knowledge out there. You can look up on YouTube for so many things and you can know a lot. But if you're not the being of it, that's why we're human beings. Like if you're not the being of that knowledge, then you're not really being the embodiment of it. So there is a real difference between knowing and being. And for me, and some people may or may not agree with this, for me, it's the bringing it into human form of what you know and being it.
Yes. Okay.
or expressing it.
Yes. And what's the importance of being embodied?
Well, I feel like the importance of being embodied is that if you really want to create lasting change, if you really want to create lasting change in your life,
Mm.
knowing is just not going to cut it. It's not enough. We have to know it and be it. And therefore, our mind and our body must be in alignment. And we must have this beautiful flow of energy that flows between our thoughts, our feelings, and our actions. And so for me, that's why it's important, because so many people, so many of us are living on autopilot. We're living in our thoughts without having awareness of them. And we're living in our past, or for some people, they're constantly living in the future. And so that's not embodiment. That's either living in the past or living in the future. Or you may be embodying your past, which is why it keeps recurring in your life. So if you really want to create lasting change, for me, I believe that we must be aligned, mind, body, and spirit.
Mind, body, and spirit. Yes. Okay. I love that. I love that. And so many little light bulbs are going off. How do your emotions impact your embodiment?
Oh, that's a very good question. How do your emotions impact your embodiment? Well, okay. It really depends. It depends on the relationship that you have with them. If you are somebody who is comfortable with their emotions, then that's a great thing. You'll express them, you'll feel them, you'll move through them. Sadly, that's not the case for many of us, and it certainly wasn't for me in my life. And if you're listening, you may have had a parent, or you may be that parent that told your child when they were very, very little, stop crying or I'll give you something to cry about. And so the energy behind that is that your tears and your emotions are not okay. They're not valid. They're not accepted. They're not welcome. And in essence, you'll be punished if you express them. So what do we do from a very, very young age is we learn how to suppress them. We keep a lid on them, which then often can appear in our life as dis-ease in our body. It can appear as anxiety. It can appear as nervousness. It can appear in the ways of addictions, because we're suppressing what we feel. So it's so important to understand that connection and have a relationship with your emotions.
Yes. Okay. Beautiful. Leads me to my next question. What are some of the main blocks that impact the way someone connects to their emotions?
I would have to say fear. And I would say that largely those fears are unnoticed. People don't even know that they're there. People, it's in the subconscious, because the blocks is the fear of feeling them, because they're not used to feeling that energy. They're not used to expressing it, or it's unsafe to feel them, to express them. So some of the blocks are fears, judgments, whether it's a judgment of I should or shouldn't feel this way. It can be because they're not even present, because they're so busy doing, keeping themselves so busy so they don't have to feel.
Yes. That's interesting, because I heard someone say today, and you hear it all the time, it's so much better being busy. If I'm not busy, I'm bored.
Yeah.
How many times do you hear people saying that, even while they're working? It's better if it's busy.
Yeah.
It's better if it's busy. Literally, I hear that all the time, and I heard it today. And it just made me think how people avoid the feeling, the listening, the tuning in, or perhaps people don't even know how to. And we're going to be exploring more of how can I listen in the next call. So we might end it there. This is the basics. We've covered emotions, embodiment, the relationship between the two. And in the next call, we're diving into a deeper layer into your relationship with your emotions. Do you listen? Do you avoid? Do you reject them? Do you hold them? Do you embrace them? What do you do? What is your relationship with your emotions? So we will stop it there. Thank you all for being here, and we'll see you in the next call.